Let me start with something that might challenge how you see yourself. If you think you're immune to emotional damage just because you're strong, disciplined, reliable, or successful, you're not. Good men don't get destroyed by weakness. They get destroyed by loyalty, by staying, by fixing, by giving chances to women who never take responsibility. And the most dangerous part, it never starts big. It starts small, quiet, reasonable, until one day you look in the mirror and realize you don't recognize the man staring back. Today, I want to walk you through 10 ways good men are slowly destroyed, not by evil women, but by unhealthy dynamics that good men tolerate for far too long. And if you're a good man watching this video isn't meant to attack you. It's meant to wake you up. Let's begin. Number 1, unrealistic expectations. This is where it usually starts. Not with cruelty, not with disrespect, but with expectations that never stop growing. The psychology behind it. Many women don't fall in love with who you are. They fall in love with an ideal projection of you, the emotionally available man, the ambitious provider, the calm leader, the romantic partner, the unshakable rock, all at the same time, all without rest. What it looks like in real life. You try harder, you improve, you adjust, you sacrifice, and instead of appreciation, something strange happens. The bar moves. What impressed her last year is now basic. What required effort is now expected. The pattern, the more you give, the more is required. You're never quite enough, never quite finished, never quite done improving. The damage it causes. A man doesn't break when he fails. He breaks when he abandons himself, trying to please something impossible. Little by little, you stop asking what you want and start asking what will keep the peace. And that's where erosion begins. 2, overdependence. This one wears the mask of closeness. It looks like love, it sounds like trust, but it quietly drains you. The psychology behind it. Some women don't attach because they want partnership. They attach because they can't stand on their own. Emotionally, financially, mentally. So they lean, then rely, then depend. The story you might recognize. At first, you're proud. She needs you. She confides in you. She turns to you when things go wrong. You feel important until every problem becomes your responsibility. Her stress, her anxiety, her bills, her decisions. You're no longer sharing life. You're carrying it. The pattern. When she's overwhelmed, you fix it. When she's anxious, you stabilize her. When she fails, you compensate. But when you struggle, there's no room for that. The damage it causes. You stop being her partner. You become her lifeline. And lifelines aren't respected. They're relied on until they snap. Number 3, lack of appreciation. This one doesn't explode. It fades quietly. The psychology behind it. Stability is invisible. Consistency doesn't create drama, so it stops being noticed. Your effort becomes the background noise of her life. What it looks like. You show up every day. Every time, no matter what. And instead of gratitude, you hear, why didn't you do more? Why didn't you do it differently? Why didn't you know? Your intentions are ignored. Your effort is assumed. Only your mistakes are remembered. The pattern. What you do right is expected. What you do wrong is magnified. Your presence is taken for granted. You're useful, but not cherished. The truth that hurts. Men don't leave because they stop caring. They leave because they cared alone for too long. And by the time they finally pull away, they're already empty. Now pause for a moment. Do you see the theme forming? None of these things are dramatic. They're subtle, gradual, easy to justify. That's why good men endure them. But we're just getting started. Because in part 2, we're going to talk about emotional confusion, manipulation, withdrawal of intimacy, and criticism that slowly silences a man. And this is where the real damage accelerates. If this already feels uncomfortably familiar, comment still here. If part 1 felt heavy, this part goes deeper because now we're moving from erosion to internal collapse. This is where good men don't just feel tired, they start doubting themselves. Let's continue. 4. Communication breakdown. This one doesn't look abusive. It looks confusing. The psychology behind it, silence is power. When communication becomes unclear, the person who withholds clarity controls the emotional field. Not by yelling, not by threatening, but by making you guess what it looks like in real life. She's upset, but won't say why. You ask what's wrong. She says, nothing. Later you hear, you should know. So you replay conversations in your head, analyze tone, second-guess words. You become hyper-aware. The pattern. Expectations are never stated clearly. You're still blamed for missing them. Clarity is withheld, responsibility is demanded. You're punished for not reading minds. The damage it causes. Men don't break from pressure, they break from confusion, because confusion makes you doubt your competence, and a man who doubts himself is easy to control. 5. Manipulative behavior. This is where reality starts bending, slowly. The psychology behind it. Manipulation isn't about domination. It's about reframing truth so the other person carries the blame. Gaslighting. Guilt tripping, emotional reversal, all designed to shift responsibility. What it looks like, you raise a concern. She turns it into an accusation. You express hurt. She tells you you're too sensitive. You apologize, even when you didn't do anything wrong. The pattern. You say sorry often. You question your memory. You stop bringing things up, not because issues disappear, but because it's easier to stay silent. The damage it causes. Manipulation doesn't break your heart. It breaks your identity. You stop trusting your judgment. And when a man loses trust in himself, he loses direction. 6. Neglecting physical intimacy. This one hurts quietly and deeply. The psychology behind it, intimacy becomes leverage, not shared desire, but a tool to regulate power. Given when she wants reassurance, withheld when she wants control. What it looks like, affection becomes conditional. Touch feels scheduled. Desire feels distant. She's close when she needs something, cold when she doesn't. The pattern. She rarely initiates. Excuses become routine. Rejection becomes normal. You stop trying, not because you don't want her, but because rejection teaches withdrawal. The damage it causes. It's not the lack of intimacy that destroys a man. It's the feeling of being undesired by the woman he's loyal to. That erodes confidence faster than words ever could. 7. Constant criticism. This is how a man slowly goes silent. The psychology behind it. Criticism is control disguised as improvement. By constantly highlighting what's wrong, she keeps you focused on fixing yourself instead of questioning the relationship. What it looks like. At first, it's small. Tone, timing, choices. Then it becomes constant. Nothing is quite right. Nothing is quite enough. The pattern. You speak less to avoid conflict. You adjust constantly. You suppress parts of yourself. Your humor fades. Your confidence shrinks. The damage it causes. A man shuts down not because he's weak, but because he's exhausted from never being enough. Take a breath here. Because by now, you should see it clearly. This isn't about one bad argument or one bad day. It's about systematic erosion. And in part 3, we're going to finish this. Jealousy and insecurity, comparison, crushed ambition. And then the twist. The moment you realize why good men stay and why they finally break. If this feels real, comment, I see it. If you've made it this far, there's something you need to understand. Good men don't explode. They erode quietly, patiently, until one day they're gone. Let's finish the last 3. 8. Failure to support his ambitions. This is where the future collapses. The psychology behind it. A man's ambition is not a hobby. It's his direction, his identity, his sense of meaning. When a woman doesn't believe in a man's future, she won't walk with him. She'll slow him down. What it looks like. You talk about goals. She laughs it off, minimizes it, calls it unrealistic. She says things like, why can't you just be satisfied? Isn't this risky? Other men are more stable. Slowly, you stop sharing your dreams. The pattern. You downplay your goals. You delay growth. You choose comfort over direction. Not because you want to, but because resistance wears you down. The damage it causes. A woman who won't stand with you will eventually stand in your way. And nothing destroys a man faster than living smaller than he's capable of. Number 9, jealousy and insecurity. This one disguises itself as love. But it isn't. The psychology behind it. Jealousy becomes control when it's used to manage fear, not through trust, but through restriction. What it looks like. Questions about who you talk to. Suspicion over harmless interactions. Monitor your phone. Comments about what you wear. At first, you reassure her. Then you adjust. Then you restrict yourself. The pattern. You constantly prove loyalty. You avoid normal interactions. You lose freedom to keep peace. Your world shrinks. The damage it causes. Love doesn't require walking on eggshells. Control does. And no man thrives in a cage, even a comfortable one. 10. Comparison. This is the final cut, the psychology behind it. Comparison is a power move. By reminding you of other men, she makes you feel replaceable and keeps you competing, not to grow, but to qualify. What it looks like. She mentions her ex, a coworker, someone else's partner, not directly, casually, enough to make you question yourself. The pattern. You doubt your value. You chase approval. You abandon your own standards. You stop becoming better for yourself and start becoming smaller to avoid losing her. The damage it causes. Comparison doesn't create better men. It creates broken ones. The twist. The real reason good men break. Here's the truth most people miss. A good man doesn't break in one moment. He breaks by tolerating small wounds for too long. Loyalty without boundaries slowly becomes self-betrayal. And the cruel irony, by the time he finally leaves, he's already lost the version of himself she fell for. The core lesson. Let this land. A woman will only respect the standards you enforce, not the sacrifices you make. Not the pain you tolerate. Boundaries create respect. Endurance creates erosion. Actionable advice. If you're a good man watching this, Set boundaries early. Stop rescuing people who refuse to stand. Walk away before you disappear. Leaving doesn't make you heartless. It makes you self-respecting. This video isn't about blaming women. It's about protecting good men from slowly losing themselves in the name of love. Comment below, which one hit you the hardest? Like the video if this felt uncomfortably accurate. Subscribe if you're done shrinking yourself. Share this with a good man who's slowly disappearing. Because a good man doesn't need to be tougher. He needs to stop tolerating what's quietly destroying him.